Welcome, Bronco Nation. Hope everyone's having a great week. In this ep of Bronco Nation Live, we will be previewing the huge conference game with UNLV with major implications, as well as other sports. And we're welcoming back our football and chill segment featuring the Rebel Perspective. I'm your host, Nick Wade, from our Blue Vision studios here in Boise, Idaho. And I'm always joined by Sam Gillette of Sam Talk Sports. What's up, man?
Oh, I'm finally excited. Well, not finally excited. I'm excited to finally get football and chill back. It's been 2 weeks where we haven't been able to get somebody, so I'm really looking forward to this. We have the Scarlet Standard. We got Mike Hump Day. Sorry, had to do it once. We got Mike coming on for the Scarlet Standard a little bit later on, and it's going to be a fun show. He brings a lot of interesting perspective and some good times. See how it goes.
Yeah, so currently we do have a couple Bronco sports going on as we speak. We have some women's soccer going on in SoCal. They are taking on San Diego State. The Broncos have a 6-3-6 overall record with a 4-0-2 conference record. They are on top of the conference. And then we also have the women's volleyball team going for some retribution against San Jose State here in Boise, Idaho at Bronco Gym. As a lot of people know, last year ended in controversy. The Broncos did forfeit a couple games against San Jose State because of some transgender player was on their team. So this year they are playing San Jose State. That player's moved on. So they are currently, I believe they are up, or they're tied 2-2. The Bronco volleyball team has a record of 12-5 overall, with a 4-2 conference record, and they too are on top of the conference. So they're looking to pad that lead tonight if they can get that final set against San Jose State. That would push them to 13-5 overall with a 5-2 conference record and keep them on the top spot.
Nice. So I do want to draw the viewers' attention. We have a new feature this week. It's been scrolling across the bottom, but we're doing more for it, trying to bring you more info. And throughout the night, you'll see down on our ticker, we have added the games of the last week, and then you'll also see upcoming games and stuff. So as you're watching and listening to us and you're thinking, oh, hey, what's volleyball doing? Let me look at the bottom ticker and wait for it to come around. And you can do that. Or obviously you can go to broncosports.com and just look it up that way. But it's more fun if you just look at all our hard work on the screen. So I do want to give you that heads up that we are starting that. We are doing that. We'll be running through several different tickers throughout the night. You'll be able to see several different sports that aren't covered by mainstream media, and all that other fun stuff. So just be on the lookout for that. And Nick, did you? I'm sorry for interrupting. Did you have anything more on the volleyball and soccer teams?
Nope. Just one little quick update on the soccer team. They just entered the half, so they're at the 45-minute mark. San Diego State has a 1-0 lead at halftime. But I just want to say I really enjoy these tickers and all the hard work that you put into getting that. Like you said, we pride ourselves in following all the Bronco sports, and we want to keep it's in one of our names, Bronco Nation Updates. We want to keep Bronco Nation updated. And I do have one breaking update. The Boise State volleyball team, they won 3-2. So look for that update to come out after the show, and you'll have all the stats there and a nice little video to go with it. as always with that graphic. But yeah, they pushed their record up to 13-5 overall with a 5-2 conference record. So
nice.
Keeping that momentum.
And we
going.
have Utah State coming up too, don't we?
Yes,
next?
We got on Saturday. You will right after the football game here in Boise. You can if it lines up, you can go directly from the football game to the volleyball game. They're playing Utah State,
and it's a big game too, almost as big as Boise State UNLV.
Yep. They're right there at the top of the conference rankings.
Yeah. Well, moving along, we got some golf to talk about. The ladies, they had set some records this week at the New Mexico State Golf Iconic Classic. They set a single round record of a 12 under and a 36 hole record of 15 under. And they had their second lowest 54 hole score in program history at 13 under. So congratulations to the ladies. They were the team champions. And Chung for Boise State, she hit a 9 under and won the whole thing. So congratulations, golfers. Keep it up. And they will be at the Rainbow Wahine, Hawaii has a weird language, Invitational over in Kauai. And the men as well, they had a successful week playing over in the Oregon State Invitational. They were team champions with a 1 over. Ruick, I should put their first names instead of first initials. Anyway, Ruick, he won tournament champion as a single with 4 under. So he shot a 4 under for the tournament. It's his 7th career win and his 4th consecutive top 10 finish, giving him 14 career top 10 finishes. And that's good for 3rd most in program history. Meyer earned his first top 10 finish of the season and 3rd of his career. Knight earned top 25 finish for the 9th time in his career. And Cushman earns a top 25 finish for the 5th time in his career. And the men are back up in, I'm going to try to say this, Ka'anapali Classic, the Ka'anapali Classic over in Maui, Hawaii. So both the men and women are in Hawaii playing on different courses. It is important to note on the women, I did forget, Chung, it's her 2nd win of the season and 3rd of her career. It's also the 2nd most in program history for the ladies. The 3rd lowest 54 hole score for her in program history. Let's see. Masueda maybe earns her 3rd career top 10 finish and single round personal best of 5 under. And freshman Ward set a new 54 hole PR at an even, shot 216. So again, our golfers, they're setting records, pushing the boundaries, and getting themselves set up to do some nice things. Nick, I know the softball is basically an exhibition in the fall. It doesn't really count towards anything, but what's the softball ladies doing this week?
Yep, like they've been doing for the last several weeks, just getting the incoming freshmen and transfers, getting them some game time. They will be in, I believe on Sunday, they'll be in Hillsboro, Oregon, playing Portland State. And just staying conditioned, getting acclimated to their new teammates, and there was a lot of transition over last year. We lost a lot of production, so this is the time for the coaching staff to evaluate the talent, see if the new transfers that are coming in are pieces that they thought they were going to be, and then also just a lot of team building during the process, and until they go on that a pretty good break until the spring, until February.
Yeah. Before we talk about rugby, I'm going to throw a little curveball at you, and we're going to go men's basketball. They got their first exhibition game coming up at the ICA there in Boise. You want to tell us a little bit about what that entails for the program?
Men's basketball is hitting the court at a neutral site in downtown Boise at the Quest Arena. They will be taking on the Idaho Vandals tomorrow, Friday, at 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. As you said, at the Idaho Central Arena. Forgive me for that blunder. But yeah, this is going to be, another, just like what the softball team's doing. They got a lot of turnover. They lost, perhaps the greatest of all time in Tyson Degenhart. Moving on, they lost Omar Stanley. They lost Alvaro Cardenas. So yeah, they do have about 200 minutes, I think, coming back. So, they got a good core. They still have, Andrew Meadow, Pearson Carmichael. They have RJ Keene, and then they have, they have Bowie, and then they have two transfers that everybody's excited to see in Drew Fielder, who came from where did he come from? Wake Forest, and then Dylan Andrews, who came from UCLA. So this will give the fans the opportunity to see these younger stars step up and get get their maximum minutes and see what they do. Oh, you can't forget Javen Buchanan.
Right. I was about to throw that in there.
He's coming back, and I think he's gonna have a breakout season. He's gonna be awesome. I fully believe that. But yeah, this is gonna give the fans a good look to see the Broncos play. The in-state. I don't know if you call them rival. It's been a while since they played basketball, and basketball really has never been a rivalry game with Idaho. So, but you can call it what you want. But you'll get Idaho fans, you get Boise State fans to be able to come to Idaho Central Arena, watch the exhibition game, and then also what I'm hearing is after the fourth quarter, they'll have like a fifth kind of a mini game and bring in the bench of all the people who didn't get to play much, and then they'll get to play probably another big full quarter, and so that'll be fun for the family. And it'll be broadcast on KTVB, and also I think maybe Mountain West, but don't quote me on that. I know it's going to be on KTVB for sure.
All right. Well, the men's rugby club, they are in session on the 18th. Unfortunately, it is at the same time as the football game. So if you can't go to the football game, head out to Lincoln Turf Fields to watch on the rugby club. They, after beating number 1 Montana State, they 32-29, they went over to Oregon and got curb stomped by Oregon State 50-12. So they really need your support. That this Saturday they are playing Idaho. So it is a in-state rivalry, like you said. And remember, your club sports, they pay to play. So their heart's in it. You know that they're in it because they are invested in it. Yes, your scholarship sports, they are invested as well. They put in the time, effort, but they're not in it in their pocketbooks. Let's say that at this level. So your club sports, their heart's in it. They deserve your support as well as the scholarship sports. So if you can't make it out to the game and you're looking for something to do to kill your Saturday afternoon, head out to Lincoln Turf Fields and root on the rugby club. Even if you don't get rugby, go learn it. It's a fun sport. A lot of people running into each other without pads on, and it's fun. I used to play it in middle school, so just out on the mainly because the bullies wanted a chance to really hit up on the nerds, and so hey, let's play rugby. We can do that and not get in trouble. So
and with this game, it could be sold out or you could be priced out. You can still catch the rugby game and hear the roar of the crowd from Albertson Stadium while you're there. So I mean, you can catch both worlds.
And then after the rugby match, go over and watch the ladies doing their volleyball thing. So it'd be a good time. So when we come back, we will have football and chill with the Scarlet Standard.
Elevate your hydration. Not all water is created equal. Boosted oxygen water is infused with a unique oxygen composition, delivering superior hydration that fuels your body like never before. More oxygen, more refreshment, more energy. Perfect for athletes, fitness enthusiasts, and wellness seekers. Boosted oxygen water goes beyond basic hydration. It revitalizes, restores, and recharges so you can conquer your day. Love the iconic blue turf at Boise State? Then grab the blue bottle and experience hydration on another level. Find it now at your local Walmart or online and give your body the boost it deserves.
All right. Well, it's been 2 weeks. We couldn't find anybody for Notre Dame. We couldn't find anybody for New Mexico, but lo and behold, Mr. Mike Cooper from the Scarlet Syndicate, he decided to grace us with his presence. Mike, how you doing? You're muted, Mike.
Oh, I'm great. How you guys doing?
Doing well. So tell us a little bit about the Scarlet Standard and what it stands for.
So Scarlet Standard was a platform that I started back in April of this year. I write only about UNLV and UNLV athletics. I have anywhere from player interviews to I am credentialed media for UNLV football, basketball, and women's basketball. So I'm at every game. I try to drop at least one article a day, whether it's something with about games coming up, what's going on around UNLV athletics, recaps, things like that. And then I try to keep everybody as informed as possible. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, as well as my all my writing is on Beehive. I can drop the link for you guys. But I was on Substack, but I transferred over to Beehive. That was a personal decision. A better chance to monetize and hopefully grow my brand even bigger.
Nice. Well, we have a big game coming up this week. Boise State and UNLV, a rematch of a rematch. First, you had the rematch from Boise State went in and barely won over in Vegas. And then the rematch of the championship game that sent Boise State to the CFP, and many thought that the winner of that game was going to go be the G5 representative. How salty is UNLV, and I say that in a most respectful way possible, how salty is UNLV fans coming into this one, knowing that it's been quite a while since they've had success against Boise State?
I wouldn't say they're salty. I think obviously, I think it's because as much as some Boise fans and maybe some UNLV fans won't admit it, it's become more of a rivalry and from a more of a fan perspective, and that they've seen each other now 4 times in the last 24, less than 2 years. So I think, I mentioned on a different show I was on Monday that, if any fan base, especially, a program like Boise State wants to take UNLV seriously, they have to get over that Boise State hump. And until they don't, then it's just, you guys couldn't win with the good teams in the conference. Now you're going to just roll over the teams in the new Mountain West. So it is. And I saw your graphic. I think, the teams I think that first team that played them in the Mountain West Championship with Taylor Green and Genty when UNLV hosted it at Allegiant Stadium. Yeah. That UNLV team would obviously everybody can see how good Jaden Mayava is now at USC.
Yeah.
But I think that team overachieved and nobody expected UNLV to be there. Nobody really took them seriously to be there. I think last year there were multiple times that UNLV could have won that game at Allegiant Stadium. Granted, they didn't, so there's no excuse at that point. But they had their chances. They showed that they could finally start to play with the better program, the bigger and better programs in the conference. And then the Mountain West Championship, they were checked out. And, Odom was gone. He was checked out. They didn't look like they did all season. That team looked like they shelved themselves. I mean, they didn't show up and try to make any momentum till the fourth quarter. And granted, they held Boise to 21 points, which, that game could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah. 17,877 days. I think that dates back to 76, if I remember right. Last time.
I think 1976.
Yeah.
I think the last time UNLV beat them was when they had, I can't remember. I think it was Bill Ireland was their coach, and
Okay.
he was the coach they actually took from Boise State.
Yeah, and that was a 5-point win. And it's important to note, not important, interesting to note that the 3 times that UNLV has beat Boise State has been by a combined 12 points. So it's never really been it's always been that upset kind of beat. It's never been a UNLV's been the favorite. Am I correct in that assumption?
I would think so. I mean, historically, the UNLV hasn't had the best football program. They were always known as a basketball school. You really started to see it take off. Sanchez didn't get over the hump, but he set the foundation of what the fundraising could be when they built the Fertitta complex. And then next thing you know, they're playing at Allegiant Stadium, and they started really focusing on their all the NIL heavy revenue share, all that's really focused on football, and you can truly see it on the field. So I think it's hard to gauge. And it's going to be interesting to see if Mullen doesn't leave after this year. Where does the trajectory look like from here?
Yeah. And Nick, this week it came out the hell for them, home for us, saying I'm not exactly sure who said it first. Maybe you can shed some light on that. What's your thought on that? And is that going to be the next blue or maybe not the next blue chaos, but the tandem, the hand in hand with Blue Chaos? Is that going to be a big thing going forward?
So this is kind of in reaction to last week. About 2 minutes before the halftime, we had a flurry of some rain, and so there was kind of some exodus from some fans. So the AD kind of compensated on the fly, and this is a really creative way to do it, to try to motivate diehard fans like myself to stay all 60 minutes. So just hell for them, home for us, and just to create that blue chaos. I will say, though, like I said in our post-game show, that's a challenge for people that stay, even, during blowouts or weather. That's just a challenge for, the faithful to bring it up another notch. It gives us a test to see how much of a championship caliber fandom that we can go. But so this is kind of the reaction for them. They are making screen prints on black shirts for this blackout for the stands. So it's a good way to.
It's funny they went to all blue for the jerseys. They didn't stay with the black.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I've been hearing the chatter all day about that. It's just there's some people. He's wearing all white helmet. They're white and red helmets, white jersey, white pants.
So they're going stormtroopers. So they're going to miss every throw that they throw up, then, right? I do want to take this time to remind all of our viewers, if you're watching live or even if you're watching the recording, you can still comment. But leave us a comment. We're going to read those online or on air, I should say. If you leave your comment, we will reply to them offline. But I see there's 66 people in here right now. So if you guys want your comments displayed and have any questions for Mike, Nick, or myself, go over to YouTube. That's the best way to do it. And go ahead and leave us your comment. We'll put it up on the screen, answer your questions, and reply to your comments as they come in. So case in point,
I think,
right there.
I think I hope they keep this game going. I hope if Mullen's the coach and Harper, I hope for the sake of college football, if UNLV is continuing to rise, I hope they can figure something out to keep UNLV and Boise playing against each other. Because if UNLV gets one, right, let's just say they do, then it starts to turn into a real rivalry. Right, because it's not a rivalry until the other team wins, and that's how I see it. Maybe a fan base rivalry, but it's not an on the field rivalry until the other team wins.
Right.
So if UNLV can get one, maybe they keep the scheduling going. I mean, it would only be good for the group of 5. You want, and with how these new Power 4 conferences have their scheduling alignments and stuff now, you got to keep the good games going. And, let's see how Boise and UNLV can navigate that. And maybe they can keep this alive. I think, there's higher ups that maybe not, above our pay grades that may have a say in that. But, it's only great for college football if they can keep this going.
Yeah. So UNLV comes into the blue 6-0, 2-0 in conference. Boise State's 4-2, 2-0. A lot of people out there saying, well, look at UNLV's schedule. Their only win is UCLA, and that was the bad UCLA, not the new UCLA. What do you say to those people about UNLV's schedule, and are you concerned about those numbers being inflated?
I am, but I'm not. I think, this team has shown, Idaho State wasn't pretty. They took care of business against the Sam Houston team they should have beat. They handled UCLA for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
Good or bad, they handled UCLA for 3.5 quarters. They kind of let that game get away late. Made it closer and more uncomfortable than it really needed to be. The Miami of Ohio game, if you're any type of college football fan, that game was a hell of a game to watch. 14 points down 3 times in that game. Like, any team can quit, and it kind of they figured out how to win a snow game up in Wyoming, an ice snow game, which they hadn't won up in Wyoming since 2002. They had when they beat Miami of Ohio, that was the first time they've ever won in the Eastern time zone. So in school history, so it's kind of and then Air Force put up over 500 yards against Boise. That offense is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But that defense is so bad. That was a hell of a football game to watch too, with over 40 points scored in the fourth quarter. So this team is kind of, as a fan, a very roller coaster team to watch. So many highs, so many lows, so many dooms, so many glooms. Like, it's hard to gauge truly where they're at. Offensively, they're one of the best teams in the country. Against Air Force, they put up 51 points and they averaged 10.1 yards a play. And they only had the ball for 25 minutes. Like, they can score with the best of them. Can the defense get a good enough stop to keep them in games? And this is the first, Allegiant Stadium, for that Air Force game, the crowd that they got for that game, yes, people like to make fun of Allegiant Stadium because of what it is. But, they got 33,000 fans, but if they're playing at Boise, that game sold out. Right. So it's kind of perspective in a sense. So it's like, this may be the most raucous crowd they've played yet. How do they respond when they're on the field? How I'm concerned about how game prep they've been. Some games they started really slow. Some games they started really fast. Some games, it's been hard, for one good. They haven't played a complete. They're 6-0, but they haven't played a complete game yet. And maybe this is it. Maybe I don't know. I've been a believer that there's 3 games that Mullen has circled since he's been hired. One was UCLA to prove a point that he could beat a Power 4, whether they were, the UCLA, what they are, the Boise State game, and the Mountain West Championship.
Yeah.
And I think, if they want to go where they want to go and want to be where they want to be, this is a game they have to win. And because if they don't, realistically, there may be a chance they miss out on the Mountain West Championship with how tiebreakers are, how well San Diego State's playing. San Diego State's one loss may only beat a Boise when they play Boise, right? And then Boise beats UNLV, they could easily run the table. And you're sitting there with tiebreaker scenarios. And if they continue to play roller coaster football, then who knows? They could be sitting there 11-1, win out, and not make the Mountain West Championship.
Right.
So this is you had, I don't know if you kind of saw, I had a clip semi-go viral that had, a little over 38,000 views of UNLV, one of their lone returners from last year, Austin Boyd, talking about how they feel that this game is a rivalry game. They feel that they have a chip on their shoulder. And I think if, it's hard to say that when you only have 3 returning starters, but you're trying to get others to buy in who've come from other schools, but that could go anywhere, right? So I think it's going to be I said that my prediction on another show, I won't say the score because we'll probably get in that later, but I said if UNLV wants to win, they have to get out and get ahead early like they have in every other single game. They can't play the chase from behind type of game because Boise's going to take the ball and swallow it and keep that offense off the field. Gaines and Riley are two very, very, very good running backs. Arguably, they have a better running back room than UNLV does.
Yeah.
Granted, Jet's the best running back in the conference, but there's nobody else really in that running back room like Jet.
Yeah.
And Gaines and Riley combined, even if you throw in Sherrod, which granted, I don't understand why he gets carries the way that he does when those other two should be fed the ball as much as possible. But
welcome to Bronco Nation. Everyone else does the same thing.
I think honestly, I said it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last, and I think that's going to be Boise, and Boise's going to come win this game, in my opinion, because I think that this is going to be a raucous environment. It's going to be a tough defense that they're going up with. It's going to be the best team they've played on paper all season. I think if they don't come out ready to go, you could be down 2-3 touchdowns right off the bat.
Yeah, you made mention UNLV's got one of the best offenses in the nation. They're 32 in total offense, 19 in scoring offense, and their defense is one of the worst in the nation at 123 in total defense and 107 in scoring defense. Their offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency might as well be night and day at 45 to 97. So
their defense is very opportunistic.
Yeah,
they lead the conference in takeaways. Maris Brown has 4 interceptions in the 5 games that he's played in. I think same thing happened against Air Force, right? They had that fumble right out of the half. Next thing he's right back in the game. They go right down the field and score. They score in one play on a reverse pass from Bradley to Varkey's Gums. The next thing you know, it's a 1-possession game. They get a stop. They go right down the field and score. So it's how their team defense is. If they can force Maddox to throw a bad interception here and there, that's going to be that's how they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
They have to make Maddox beat them through the air.
And Notre Dame showed you how to do that. So
I think the interesting thing about Maddox is when he doesn't have Lauder to throw to, he looks gun shy, and you can see that. And I think he doesn't use Caples the way that he should.
Yeah.
But I think that could be play calling too. I mean, Dirk Cutter was able to call games great for Maddox, and their OC still trying to figure it out. And it's kind of the same thing with UNLV's defense. Not saying they're bad on that same level, but I'm saying in a sense of like, you got to, you're 6 games in. I hope you figure it out by now. And if you don't, then you're going to lose to good teams.
Yeah.
Maddox
has had a new favorite receiver emerge too with Chris Marshall. So maybe he's kind of that next relief valve. Marshall's the leading receiver on the team right now, 19 receptions, 344 yards. So do you think maybe their defense is probably going to be honed in on him and Lauder to get Maddox kind of that rabbit foot in the back, try and get your line up to let old Brown and McDuffie. Is that how you say it? McDuffie. That's an I.
Marcel McDuffie. Yeah, McDuffie.
McDuffie in his get some.
I mean, he does like Ben. Maddox does like Ben Ford too in the red zone a little bit.
Yeah.
Ben Ford has 5 touchdowns on the season. Marshall averages 18 yards per reception. So he's kind of started to distribute the ball a little bit. They run about a 45-55 run pass.
Yeah.
So they've started to balance it out. They lead they're the Mountain West leader in first downs. They average 6.2 yards per play. It's they're starting to figure out the offense. It's a matter of if Maddox has 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. To be a matter of if he doesn't turn the ball over or not.
Right.
He doesn't really turn the ball over on offense. At least they haven't yet, and they've been able to take advantage of those the opportunities they've gotten from the defensive side of the ball. I could probably, to be fair, I think I'm not comparing the two, obviously, but I think Calandre's only thrown 1 pick all season. I could be wrong. Calandre has 3, and I don't think they've lost a fumble yet. So they take care of the ball on offense, and that's why they're able to score the way that they do.
Yeah,
and take advantage of their turnovers on defense. So,
and that's one thing with Boise State. They're Their total offense ranks top 25 at 22, but they just can't get that score. So they move the ball, but they're not having much success getting it in the end zone. They're only ranked 44. And defensively, it's kind of more of the same. Their total defense is 41, but they give up those big plays, those inopportune big plays, and that's dropped their scoring defense rank down to 73. And if UNLV is going to win, it's going to be them opportunistic big plays that on offense that gets them over there, because the secondary, Boise State secondary, isn't as bad as what people think it is. They actually have a very good passing defense. They just give up bad plays at the most inopportune times, and it's the glaring not turning around to find the ball, getting beat so you can't turn around to find the ball. So if UNLV can get to a point where they're getting those big plays, then they'll have a chance. But if it's going to be dink and dunk and try and march down the field, then that's where it's going to be a dogfight.
I'm very interested to see how Boise State plays Anthony Calandria with the way that he can run the football. Do they have a spy? How do they play that? Do they make him, like you kind of said, do they take him away? Do they, does that open up lanes for Jet Thomas, who leads the nation in yards per carry? He's second in the Mountain West in rushing. He doesn't get enough touches the way he should, but I mean, he has 577 yards on 72 touches. And anytime he touches the ball, it's almost a first down.
Yeah.
So it's, how do they play Calandria's rushing? Danielson mentioned in his weekly presser that, he's one of the most dynamic players in the conference. And with his running ability, I'm interested to see how do you guys think that that defense plays him?
I'd have to say that they would probably prepare. They're probably almost the same way they prepare for Air Force, with the way that Zarka, he really put up a lot of passing on Boise State, but they also had to contain his run. And so I would assume that they probably prepared kind of similar to that, to where they keep that quarterback in front of them and not let him get downfield and use his legs against you. Nick?
Yeah, I think what they'll do is number one will be their priority is to stop the run first, and then they'll probably try to corral Calandri with a mix of JVM on the edge, and then Max Stieg on the defensive end, and then you got to put your fastest guy as the the lookout, and that would be Buck Benefield. He can fly up the center on a whim, or to each side wherever Calandri goes, and make the stop there. He's leading the team in tackles, and so I would say that he'd probably be the spy, or maybe one of the three linebackers in there, maybe a Rip or both helps.
Yeah,
I think too, kind of what Calandria showed last week was he picked his spots when he ran. He only had 7 rushes last week. He had 62 yards, 2 touchdowns when he did run, including the game winner. They're basically the one that gave him the lead. I guess that's considered the game winner. He threw the ball 32 times against that Air Force defense, and he threw for 361 yards and 1 touchdown. He was 20 out of 32. So it's kind of, there are games where he shows he can run. There's games they show he can manage the game. Now that last week showed he can kind of throw the ball as well when they've taken his running away. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how they play it and what they do.
One thing with Boise State, if they can hop out and get out to an early lead and turn UNLV into a one-dimensional, have to pass the ball, then that's where they excel, because then they can pin the ears back and come after you. If it comes into much like UNLV having to get into a dogfight, I think this game actually comes down to, I might have said otherwise earlier, but thinking about it now, I think this game comes down to, if it's a dogfight, it's anybody's game. If anybody can jump out to a quick lead and play their style of offense, their style of defense, pin the ears back and come after the quarterback, that's where it's going to turn into blowout potential.
All right, viewers, if you're watching right now, we're getting pretty close to prediction time. So if you got your predictions or who you think, what are the keys to the game, Put them in the comments. Right now is your chance.
And quarterback play, it's really evenly matched too. You got Madsen's on the year is 122 for 200 for 1,570 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And Calandria's 109 for 160. Yeah, he doesn't have as many passes, but still 1,400 yards. And you said that he's really coming into his passing game now, 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So they're really, it's going to be a good battle to see which quarterback shines the most. And if Madsen can not revisit those interception issues he had against Notre Dame, and if the offense doesn't lay an egg in a big game, granted it's not as big as Notre Dame and UCF was, but if the offense comes out to show, then it's going to be a rough game. So for UNLV defensively, because UNLV's defense is going to be the reason they lose, which is, I guess that's true in all defenses. But if UNLV gets blown out, let's put it that way, it's going to be because their defense just couldn't wrap their mind around Boise State's offensive scheme.
I've said that if UNLV wins this game, the way that they win this game is how they've won all their other games. Get out big early and hope to hang on. If they don't, if Boise gets out to a lead early and UNLV plays from behind, Boise State's winning this game. Yeah. I think, they have to score, get a stop, score, and if they're up 14-0, 17-0, something UNLV is something like that, then you can hang on for dear life, kind of like similar to UCLA, similar to, how they've played all season. You're asking Gunther to get a stop here and there because the offense is going to go down and score. I think it's good. I think the first half is going to be a very good dictator of how the flow is going to go. I think, if it's a slugfest, kind of like you said, a battle, dogfight of, it's close. It's, who's swinging, who's throwing punches, how do they respond, who gets up first? It's going to be, if it's, 7, I'm just using that example, 14-10, 17-14, it's a ball game. I think that completely changes the perception of rather if it's a 21-10, 24-10, something like that. Either way, it changes because the best way, I think, and I think the key if he's going to win is they have to quiet the crowd. And if you quiet the crowd, you can get back into the game, and you can dictate the game. You got to keep the Boise fans out of it. If it's rocking and raucous and it's 21-7 Boise State, that crowd's it's going to be how does UNLV respond and how do they handle it? And if they can't handle it, it'll show. I mean, they've had some I don't know if you call it maturity problems, but they have discipline problems. They're one of the most penalized teams in the country. They're a worse penalized team than Boise State is. And Boise State's in the bottom tier.
Yeah.
So they're one of the worst penalized teams in the country. And the thing that they do I think their defense is better than what it shows statistically, but I think the problem is it showed especially against Air Force. There was 4 or 5 times where they had them 3rd and long, ready to make Air Force get off the field, and it's pardon my language, a dumb fuck personal foul penalty, a dumbass pass interference penalty, something like that keeps the drive going, and next thing you know, Air Force takes advantage of it and scores. And you can't do that. You can't do that against a team like Boise State. Boise State's going to eat that alive every single time.
Yeah, Boise State ran into that a little bit last week as well. And against USF, they had the Banks. He went in and picked up his personal foul penalty that gave USF the first down to extend their drive when Boise State had him beaten off the field, and that really ignited USF's offense and that was the defining moment of the game. That's where that USF game kind of started spiraling out of control. And then against New Mexico, we had that JVM had his personal foul that he got, and it sparked New Mexico down to score. That game should have been 14 points less than what it was, but the penalties killed them. So Boise State's in that same boat. You can't have those penalties against good teams because they're going to capitalize on it. So Nick, do you have any questions for our guest? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah. So, Calandry, he's got the 3 interceptions. Did those come in bunches, or what were the circumstances behind those interceptions, and did that put the team in the hole when those happened?
Both those 2 of the 3 interceptions came against Miami of Ohio. One was a tip ball at the line that was deflected interception early in the game in that game, and the other one was ironically UNLV came out. They were down. They came storming back and tied the game up after being down 14. They had just given up a kick return for a touchdown after they tied it up. After they got the ball back, Calandria threw another ball that was tipped at the line that was returned for a touchdown. So they went down immediately down 14 again in a minute 30 span. They ironically came back and answered and won that game. The other interception he had was against Sam Houston, and it was a forced ball. That was really what it was. Other than that, his games have been clean. Idaho State was clean. He played really well against UCLA. Last week was pretty clean as well. UCLA, he had a bonehead one that was returned for a touchdown that was called back, that I think even Mullins said, "What the hell are you doing?" during the press conference. He's giving him shit for it. He was dragged down for a sack. He just threw it up. The defensive lineman caught it and he ran into the end zone. And luckily, the UCLA was flagged for a penalty. Or that interception actually would have tied the game.
Yeah, I remember watching that. I was a UNLV fan that night.
But yeah, I mean, the 3 interceptions he had, 2 were against Miami of Ohio, and then the other one was against Sam Houston. But he forced the ball to Jaden Bradley that wasn't there. So, I mean, he started to figure out too that he has usage in his other receivers. It's not just Jaden Bradley anymore. Last week it was Day Reynolds. The week before that it was Tyshawn Lyons. He's had Troy O'Meara started to appear more and more. You haven't really seen much from JoJo Earl, the TCU Alabama transfer. You haven't seen him much at all. He actually started to use Jet more in the passing game last week. Jet had 6 catches last week. So he's starting more to distribute the ball. And I wouldn't be surprised at some point if he has a game, whether it's this game or it's in the future, that he has a game where it's the receivers, he completes a pass of 10 plus receivers.
Yeah.
And I like to ask that. I like to ask that because I know, when it comes to quarterbacks, like a lot of their interceptions, they happen in bunches. Like, I mean, with Maddox, he had that bad game against Notre Dame. Otherwise, he'd be sitting at 11-1, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception. So I like to see how that's happened. I usually ask, our contributors about their quarterback and how that looks. Because that just looking at the stats doesn't merely tell the whole tale most of the time. So I get that, a quarterback can have a multi-interception game, and that's what happens. Like, even the best have when they're off, they have those.
And
that was the crazy thing about that Miami of Ohio game. Miami of Ohio in their first drive was aided by penalties, went down and scored a touchdown. Calandra throws an interception on UNLV's first drive, gives Miami of Ohio a short field. They're down 14-0. They come storming back, they get 14-10, and then they give up 10 points at the end of half. They're down 24-10. They score 14 points just out the gate, right to start second half, tie it at 24. When they tie it up, they give up a kick return, then a pick 6, and they're down 14 again. And then next thing you know, that was the third time they were down 14. They came storming back, scored 17 unanswered, and won that game by 3. So, it's very interesting. Like, that's what I'm talking about, where, like, this team is so doom, gloom, roller coaster, up and down. It's really hard to gauge how good they truly are. Yeah. And I think, offensively on paper and defensively on paper, it tells the story. But the games don't truly tell, because how much are they playing from behind? They outscored, other than that second half of that Miami of Ohio game, defensively, they gave up 0. I mean, you gave up a kick return and you gave up a pick 6. You outscored them 31-14 and 31-14 in the second half, and none of them were on the defense. So, they've had two good games where they were bend, don't break, like Sam Houston. They played well for 3 quarters against UCLA. They played well against Miami of Ohio. The defense played well against Wyoming also. But, they've had those really bad games, the Idaho States. The UCLA game was inflated on paper statistically, but it wasn't really as close as what it turned out and what the score ended up being. So that's why it's kind of hard to tell. And I think, this is going to be the true testament. A lot of people don't like Paul Gunther. A lot of people call for Gunther's head, but I think it's hard to tell. It's hard to gauge. And I think this is going to be their first real true test to see they are 6-0. Do they deserve to be 6-0? Or are they just, frauds like everybody calls them? And it's going to show on the turf on Sunday or on Saturday.
Yeah. And going back to Matson's 4 interceptions against Notre Dame, that really tells you how good this Boise State defense is. That Notre Dame's offense with Jeremiah Love and Price and CJ Carr running the show over there, it really tells you how good to give up 4 interceptions and still only lose by 21 to Notre Dame. So
I thought Boise played really well. I watched that game.
Yeah.
I watched most Boise games, and I think their defense doesn't get the credit that it deserves.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I tried to call my shot last week, thinking Eck, ride the Eck wave and go up there, and he can go prove something up on the blue. And if anybody can go up there and win a game like that, maybe it's him. But that really proved me wrong on that one. Like, I admit when I was wrong on my calls, and I was wrong on that one. But USF, they just didn't look ready to go. And I think you saw Danielson admit that. They just weren't ready to play. And then after that, they've gotten better every single week.
Yep.
So I think, is like you kind of mentioned, if Maddox can control his interceptions, that defense can keep UNLV off the field and control that UNLV offense like they have. They bottled up App State. They bottled up Notre Dame, really. It's other than the short fields, like Notre Dame didn't really do much. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes and how well they can contain that offense. If they contain that offense, they win the game pretty easily.
Yeah. I'm outside because kids are inside and loud. And I have little spiders building their webs all around me. I'm just seeing, I thought it was a fly or a mosquito or something. And I'm looking and nope, that's a spider. So you see me sitting there with my pen doing this. I'm shooing away spiders. It's little guys. So I want to talk to you something that I've been working on coming up into the halfway point of the season, where I've got a good barometer of where people are, or where rankings are, I should say. I use my Sam Talk Sports Prove It rankings whenever I do all this stuff. I don't do the ESPN stuff because it's all a popularity contest anyway. But
I will say
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that UNLV is not ranked strictly because of the Dan Mullen popularity.
Yeah, I would. They are receiving votes. I think if it dropped down to the top 30, I think they're 29th, if I remember right. So they're receiving enough votes to be in that 30 to 25 area.
Granted, do I think their play deserves it? Maybe not. I don't know. They are 6-0, so it's hard to gauge that.
Right.
But
maybe if they had a few blowouts, maybe.
I thought I was always under the impression like, oh, Dan Mullen has such a good relationship. It's him. It's all the ESPN articles they wrote about UNLV in the offseason. Like, oh, they'll be ranked 3-0, 4-0. But
yeah,
proved me wrong on that one.
You're not gonna like me then because I have them ranked at 44. So, but
I think that's fair. I think if you're looking at it from a football perspective, are they one of the best 50 teams in the country? Probably.
Yeah.
There's probably 3 Mountain West teams that deserve to be in that top 50 with Boise State, UNLV, and San Diego State. San Diego State probably has the best resume of anybody on paper right now, and they're sitting at 5-1. So it's so it's hard to tell. They won those sloppy games. They blew out Cal. They've taken care of business so far in Mountain West play. I mean,
yeah.
I have them, I put out a Mountain West power ranking every week, and I have them in my top 3. So I think, I'm right there with you.
I've got San Diego State at 39, UNLV 44, and Boise State at 45. So top 50. Those 3 schools, top 50. It checks out.
I think it's fair. I mean, I think, if UNLV loses this game, right? Because they're the highest ranked team in the AP poll. I mean, and San Diego State was receiving votes, and then obviously Boise is Boise. So if UNLV loses this game, this probably takes them out of any of the higher postseason talk, other than going to a bowl game. Obviously, they're already bowl eligible, but does that open up a path for San Diego State? Does San Diego State beat Boise? I'm just putting it out there. Like what is San Diego? Then it looks into, does Boise have a bounce back path to get in because they beat UNLV, who's receiving votes? They beat San Diego State, who may be ranked at that point if they continue to win out when they play in 3 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the AAC is going to beat up on each other. So does Boise still have a path to get into the playoff? It's still relevant. I think.
Yeah, I really think that the door is not shut on Boise State or even UNLV or San Diego State right now. Any one of those schools getting into the CFP. But for Boise State, with 2 losses and both of them being near blowout, I mean, was it 27 points to lost to USF, and then a 21-point loss to Notre Dame. Those don't look good for CFP committee. So it'll be interesting to see who they have ranked high enough to be that 12 seed at this point. Because right now, unless it's probably going to be Memphis. To be honest, I mean,
USF and Memphis are probably going to end up playing each other twice.
Yeah. And regardless, it doesn't matter if they split it. It's still going to be one of those two. Right now, Memphis has.
Navy's a dark horse too, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, but yeah, for anybody in the Mountain West to stand a chance, it's going to be the American going Mexican standoff on each other, and having a 2 or 3 loss team win the conference championship, as long as that 2 or 3 loss team isn't Memphis or USF. Because either one of those 2 teams, they already have the resume with the Arkansas win for Memphis and the Florida win for USF. So,
well, to be fair, I know those are. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yep.
To be fair, both Napier's going to get fired. It was reported he may be fired on Sunday.
Nice.
And Arkansas's already fired their coach. So what kind of difference is that win over, say, just using a UNLV as an example? UNLV's win over UCLA. Now how UCLA looks. It's not like Arkansas hasn't taken off like UCLA has. And what is Florida going to look like after they fire Napier? So like what? Yeah. They are SEC wins, but are they good wins? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, but it's still. I mean, they're
They both were ranked at the time, so maybe you give them credit for that part. But it's like it's the SEC bias, I guess you can say, right?
Yeah.
UCLA. What if UCLA ends up winning out, or not winning out, but being competitive out, and they finish 5-7?
Yeah.
They were 0-4. They win 5.
How crazy would it be? How crazy would it be? They went out and then win the Big 12 championship.
Hey, realistically, I saw their schedule. If they win out, there's a good chance they go to the Big 10 championship because they would beat Ohio. At that point, you'd beat Ohio State. I think you'd beat Illinois too.
Yeah,
because I think they played them, and you would beat SC, who's also ranked.
Yeah,
there's a good chance. It's not off the table. It's not crazy. It's crazy. It's not crazy, but it's crazy. I guess
kind
you
of pandemonium would that cause?
And then it's like you look at it from the committee perspective. It's like, okay, they're 8-4. They lost in the championship. Let's just say to like Oregon or something.
Yeah.
Big Ten bias. Do they get considered with 4 losses?
Right.
No.
Yeah. So, excuse me. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back in. I want to talk about a little conference realignment for the future, and get your thoughts on that.
We are cruising right along in 2025. Are you looking for a healthy change? Just breathe and let the Organize Experience help you embrace change. The Organize Experience team masters in the art of helping people find freedom through decluttering, organizing, and creating organizing systems. So let Stacy's team help you in 2025. Visit their website at theorganizedexperience.com.
All right. If you guys are just joining us, remember to drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from, and let's see how far this reach gets. We'll read your comments on air. We'll answer any questions on air. We'll respond to any comments that you leave. So leave us a comment. It works better on YouTube. We can do Facebook. So just let us know where you're watching from, and let's see how far our reach is. So I've been working on a little piece with my Sam Talk Sports Prove It poll, working on who's going to be the next Power 5 conference. The AAC by itself can't get there because they have like 6 teams, I believe, that are bottom 100 in the nation. So they can't make it there on their own. The new Pac-12, it can't make it there on its own. You got Washington State and Oregon State.
I will make an argument. Basketball-wise, the Pac-12 is a power conference. Football-wise, it is not.
Right. And going forward, I mean, you have a good football school or basketball school and good football school in the same conferences. Even if one's a good football and one's a good basketball, they're going to even out eventually with the recruiting. So, but I understand where you're coming from. The Pac-12 is going to be probably one of the premier basketball conferences in the nation, right up there where the Big East used to be, in my opinion.
If Boise keeps where they're at, right?
Yeah.
The level competitive, and then you add in just in their own tier, you have San Diego State and Gonzaga. Those two teams alone are better than most schools in most conferences.
Right. So the Pac-12 on its own can't be a Power 4 or Power 5 football conference going forward. So how do you fix it? And of course, the Mountain West Conference, they might as well be the WAC because the UNLV is going to be the flagship program of the Mountain West Conference going forward in football. Basketball, Grand Canyon might try and make a claim for that. Which
Grand Canyon's a very respectable basketball school.
Yep. So, but what happens if? Sorry. That graphic really wants to show itself to you. What happens if you combine the Pac-12 and the American? You drop off the ranked 100 and below teams for the American Conference. You add the 100 and above teams from the Mountain West, and then you factor in Washington State and Oregon State. So you get that Pac-12 money as well as the American money coming in. You can't leave those two off and do it. Would this be the next Power 5 conference?
I would say it's a Group of 5 Super League. I think that it makes the Group of 5 a lot more respectable. I would not say I don't know if the networks and NCAA would consider it a power conference, but I think it's damn near close. I think this is where it's headed. I think, it's gonna be interesting to see how the Mountain West and Pac-12 play out over this next grant of rights deal that, both of them expire in 2031, and what happens with a lot of the realignment in the other conferences. Kind of like we mentioned off the air, what's going to happen with the ACC? Is the ACC going to stay together? Is Florida State, Clemson going to go to the Big Ten, go to the SEC? Is North Carolina? Obviously, it was rumored before that, during the summer that the North Carolina tried to go to the SEC. What is going to happen? Does Notre Dame in football decide to finally join a conference at some point? I think if you have a league like this and then you throw in potentially, those two West Coast teams that are in the ACC with Stanford and Cal, you kind of have a mix of what the old middle to bottom Pac-12 was with the group of 5. And
Yeah.
I think it makes a very strong and competitive football and basketball conference because,
Yeah.
Memphis is a very good football, basketball program. South Florida is a good basketball program. Florida Atlantic's been a good basketball program. And then obviously you have, if they keep if Gonzaga stays in basketball, you have a very, West Coast, you have a very good West side with New Mexico, San Diego State, Gonzaga, UNLV, Boise. If Fresno ever gets their basketball program out of the dumpster, they need to fire that high school coach that they have there. But that's a conversation for a different day. But I think this is where it's headed. I think I've not been one to be on the. I mean, I've been on the fence. I've written articles going both ways about, is the Big 12 smoke for UNLV real? Is it not? Is that actually going to happen? What does it look like? I think it's all going to, there's going to be so much realignment. It's going to play out where either there's a G5 Super League or, schools like Boise State, UNLV, San Diego State get into one of those bigger conferences. But I think this is the actual route that needs to go. This is probably the most rational route I've seen, taking those AAC better teams. It made it. I changed my stance a little bit when you saw Memphis try to buy their way into the Big 12, not take any TV money and spend $20 million on their own, and the Big 12 still said no. And they just don't respect them as a program.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's like, okay, if someone's willing to do that, and what do these other schools realistically ever have a shot? And maybe that's just telling you right there they don't. 5 years from now, will it be different? Who knows, right? But I think a lot of this realignment is going to depend on what the CFP does. Is there one G5 spot? Is there two G5 spots? Do they expand it to 14, 16? Does the Big 10 SEC auto bids actually become a thing where they eliminate conference championships? What is that going to look like? And I think there's a lot to still be said about that. But I think at the end of the day, this is the route you showed is probably pretty close to what it's actually going to head.
Yeah, I went more in depth on conference realignment and actually not like this. This is just what I put together for the more realistic what's going to happen. But my wish list, if you guys want to go take a look at it at bronconationupdates.com/STS, I actually went through and broke down how to fix the NIL, the transfer portal, and conference realignment, where it's going to it really breaks down the conference or the teams' conferences into manageable conferences and divisions with reasonable scheduling. You're not having USC playing Boston College every week, that kind of travel disparity. So if you guys want to take a look at that, it's bronconationupdates.com/STS. There's a few articles there. This one will be up there as well whenever I finish this writing. Taking a look at this graphic, and to your point of it's a G5 super conference, the rankings, I mean, they're not far off from the ACC, where the ACC average ranking in their conference is 59.1, where this conference idea here 63.2. So we're not that far off, and then you got the Big 12 at a 50. So we're right there with the bottom end of the Power 4 conferences. So it's just a matter of, are they going to give those, like you said, the auto bids to SEC and the Big 10, and basically say, thank you for coming, everybody else, but these are our football schools now. You guys can go and pick scraps or have your own thing. So,
yeah, I think a lot of it's going to end up on how the realignment works and what the CFP does, and if they can get this NIL under actually under control. I just saw a report today. I'll use basketball again as an example. Kentucky has a $22 million roster.
Yeah.
Like that's not realistic for G5 schools to have. Some of them may, I mean, to be fair, I would say, just as an example, probably UNLV and Boise State have $3 million rosters for football.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they can't compete with these, power schools that have 20, $30 million football rosters. It's never going to be realistic. So until you get it under control and I think, I've always been on the boat that transfer once, okay, transfer twice, you have to sit.
Yeah.
Because there's too many kids, especially because there's too many kids on the basketball side that, great player for UNLV last year, but, Jaden Henley is a prime example. 4 schools in 4 seasons. It takes, you're just a free agent athlete at that point. You're not even going to school.
Yeah. In my NIL deal in the transfer portal, I actually say that you get 2 transfers, unless there's a coaching change, in which case you get a special transfer for that. But
they kind of have that now. So if you haven't seen with like Deshaun Foster getting fired, or most recently James Franklin,
yeah,
they have a 30-day window now that the player can transfer.
Yeah, and that's why I say I keep that for a coach who's firing, because you're recruited by that coach. Obviously, if he's going to hire somewhere else, you want to go to that somewhere else. But you get your freshman and junior year, and after your junior year, you can transfer, and then you don't get to transfer again until, sophomore. After your sophomore year, you can transfer, and then you can transfer the end of your junior year into your final senior year of play. So it makes you have to take that, stay in one spot and show some kind of loyalty to a program, and without going, oh, well, these guys are going to pay me money, so I'm going to go over here instead. So
I do think that proposed one window is going to help control that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on the football side, like, UNLV had a prime example of it this year of some of these players stayed at UNLV, and right after spring ball, Barry Odom came and poached them.
Yeah.
So it's he saw what he had and what he didn't have, and he came and took the players that stayed loyal to the school and offered them more NIL, which UNLV couldn't match. Yep. So I think having a team January to January, kind of like how Mullen said, with this one window, is going to make those rules a lot easier. And I think, you kind of have to put a limitation on how many times these kids can transfer, because I think it's starting to get out of control.
Yep. I agree. Nick,
I know one thing
on realignment. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no, you're good.
All right. Nick, what are your thoughts on this conference realignment?
I like overall most of the teams that you put in there. I do like to have an Air Force to go along with Navy and Army. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of UTSA. I'm more of a North Texas guy. I feel like the North Texas fan base is worth a lot
in the
more.
West.
Yeah,
they're over there on the west side.
Okay, but yeah, I would I would probably kick Temple out and put in an Air Force.
Yeah. I did these strictly on ranking, on how the best rank would happen, and
but that would still have them up there, in the 50th percentile up there with your ACC. I would like to chime in. I think you won't see anything change in the transfer portal until you see student athletes starting to hold out for more money. Then you're going to see some changes real quick. I mean, you saw it. Where was it? At Clemson, I believe, or was it Tennessee? It was Tennessee, where the quarterback was holding out, and they just basically, we're done.
Yep. Good old I'm a leaving. Left to UCLA.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about there was a safety.
Oh,
maybe you mentioned, maybe you're talking about Ilamava, but there was a safety. He sat out all of spring ball, all of fall ball, and I think he's still sitting out that because he didn't like the NIL deal that he got.
Huh. I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah,
I heard about the one in the NFL where if he sat out and for the entire season, he can go back into the draft.
and then once these universities stop seeing a ROI on these transfers, you'll see a change after that when they start, bouncing for more money, and then they're not getting a return. That's when you're going to see a change.
Yep.
Yeah, the safety's name was Boo Carter.
Okay. Hey, he's still sitting out?
I don't know if he's played yet. No, he's playing now. But he ended up playing week 1, but he sat out all of fall ball, all of spring ball. I don't know what they did to get him back, but he played against Syracuse. He's played most of the season, but he sat out. And he threatened to sit out. He was one of those guys like Nico that was reported that he was going to sit out of the bowl game because of NIL money.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous,
Yeah. I hope they have it in contract that you have to play your bowl game. You want paid, you got to play your bowl game.
I think there's a difference between playing a bowl game though and playing the college football playoff.
Yeah.
That's another level.
Yeah. I agree. Well, Nick, you want to take one more break and then we'll come back and get score predictions?
Before we go, only reason I say sitting out the CFP is a different level than sitting out a bowl game is because people sit out a bowl game because they don't want to get hurt for the NFL draft.
Right.
So
understandable. But at the same time, if you're going to play scared, you're going to play scared at the next level too. That's why you have insurance.
True.
If you need painting done, stay out of the heat or the cold and let Crosby Custom Coatings take care of you. Scott has been your Treasure Valley expert since 1979. Call him at 208-939-6962 today.
All right. So Bronco Nation and Rebel fans out there, now's the time. Give us your score predictions. We'll post them up as we go through here. You got UNLV 6-0 coming into the iconic blue, playing on Boise State 4-2 at 1:30 Mountain Time on Fox Sports 1. Boise State did open this week as a 10.5-point favorite. I believe it's up to 12.5 now. The over-under was 63.5, so they're expecting some lights out, some fireworks here. The ESPN matchup predictor has Boise State at a 71.1% chance to win. Players to watch, obviously, Maddox Madsen, we talked about him earlier, has 1,570 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Calandria has 1,403 yards, 10 interceptions, and 3 touchdowns for UNLV. And then Boise State has a whole slew of running backs with Dylan Riley and Sire Gaines and Malik Sherrod sitting back there. All can take it to the house at any given moment. Of course, you have Gaines as more of your I'm going to run you over into the end zone kind of back. Sherrod's more of your shifty, get to the outside and passing kind of back with Riley as Achingenti 2.0. So they got a good stable there for running back. UNLV has Thomas, Jay Thomas. Is that correct?
Jaden Thomas, yeah.
Yeah. 72 carries, 577 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Bradley for UNLV, 28 receptions, 493 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think that Boise State's going to have to keep an eye on him this week. Brown has 2 sacks, leading the Rebels with 2 sacks, and McDuffie leading them with 45 tackles. Ty Benefield leads Boise State with 42 tackles, so it's going to be fun to see if Benefield can get in there and beat McDuffie in tackles this week. Feely's our sack leader with 4.5 sacks, and then Chris Marshall, 19 receptions, 344 yards, and a touchdown. That being said, that's your quick game time rundown. Mr. Cooper, what is your Boise State UNLV score prediction?
I think Boise State wins 38-35. That's I've been adamant about that all week. I said even preseason, I thought UNLV would go 11-1. Their one loss being on the turf. I'm trying not to make fun of them and call it the Smurf turf, But
Hey, we call it the smart turf. It's all right.
So I've been adamant that this is going to be their one loss all season. Because after this, they play the bottom tier in the Mountain West. They play Utah State, they play Hawaii, they play Reno, and New Mexico. So, and then they play Colorado State, who looked like shit all season, and then all of a sudden looked great against Fresno. So I don't
that made
really
no
know
sense
who.
at all.
I don't know, but realistically, they shouldn't lose the game again. But I've been very adamant that I think this defense is too much. I think that the offense is going to be able to score, but the defense is not going to be able to be able to stop anybody. And I think my keys for Boise to get to this point is they clean up their first down losses, and they're able to get 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, which opens the play sheet for Maddox Madsen and Riley. You have Feely and JVM making enough havoc, a sack here and there to force UNLV into field goals instead of touchdowns and knocking them out of the red zone. And UNLV's going to land its explosive plays with Thomas and Calandria, but Boise's going to be able to control the tempo. And I think if Boise controls the tempo like they do, Boise's going to win this game 38-35. I think the swing and variables is kind of what we talked about. The turnover margin. Is UNLV going to be able to not have dumb penalties that extend Boise drives? Are they going to be able to capitalize here and there on a Madsen mistake? And that I think that looms differently between a Boise win or a program defining changing win for what UNLV can do. I think if UNLV is going to win this game, it's going to be a shootout, 48-41, 48-45. It's going to be UNLV gets the ball, UNLV gets ahead early, and it's Boise's coming after him, chasing them, and it's going to be similar to like an Air Force, how UCLA ended, Miami of Ohio type game, where it's just going to be a shootout, and whoever has the ball last wins. I think, but that's my opinion. Boise 38-35 is my score prediction.
I've always said, well, not always. For the last 2 weeks, I've said UNLV's only 2 losses needs to be to Boise State this week and in the conference championship game. That's our best way to CFP. 38-35. Is that a last-second field goal Boise State win, or is that a UNLV driving down and turns it over on 4th down?
I think it's a UNLV has the ball down 10. They score a touchdown late to cut it to 3, and Boise runs the clock out.
Nice. Nick, your prediction.
Yeah, I think that Boise State's defense has really come into their own. I think the key to this game is going to be turnovers for one. As Mike said, that UNLV's opportunistic. So is Boise State. But I do think that the edge goes towards the defense. UNLV's defense is ranked considerably way higher than or lower, however you want to say it, than Boise. Boise is trending in the right direction. I think that Boise State's going to establish the run. The crowd's going to be behind the team at home. That's going to open up a play action pass from Maddox Madsen to Matt Lauder. He'll have that connection totally at his disposal. I think that's going to open stuff up. I do think that the Boise State defense is going to control the running game on UNLV's and make it a one-dimensional team, and then that's going to open it up for Marion McCoy to have some chances at a pick or two. Also, I think Jaden Mickey is now that he's healthy, he's becoming very dominant at the nickel spot. And then of course you have Buck Bennyfield that he's going to be roaming around the field looking to light some suckers up. So for those reasons, I think another reason for my score being in the odd number this week is the kicking game is in. You got Colton Boomer. He kicked a 50-yard field goal. I'm very confident in the kicking game now. And then also I think that the O-line is going to do much better I was at practice this week. Coach D was paying specific attention to that crew, and I think the penalties are coming down. They're still high, but they are coming down. They went from 12 for 100 against Notre Dame, 7 for 72, I believe, in against New Mexico. So for those reasons, I think the score is going to be 37-20, Boise State.
37-20. Well, I think the offense is going to offense and the defense is going to defense, and we'll just leave it at that. I got Boise State 45, UNLV 24. As Boise State tries to return to the Boise State of old. I've been saying that if Boise State's going to get back into the CFP, they have to blow out the spread, not just blow out the opponent. And the only way to do that is to put up Boise State of old numbers and hope UNLV can't keep up. So
I think you guys have hit it on the head to an extent of it needs to be that way. Like, Boise State has to prove a point, but also I think, that number is very high. I mean, they're giving no respect to UNLV's defense. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this game really goes. I think it's hard to tell how good Boise really is because, as much as people want to make fun of the teams that UNLV is beaten, other than really last week, that was the first time they've actually beat a good team with a decent record for Boise has. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well they play because it's easy to get – the way I see it, it's easy to get teams ready to go and up to play when they play a school like Notre Dame, but what's it like when you need to play UNLV and like a conference game that matters? It's really going to be interesting on both sides how that goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nick, do you have any final thoughts for Saturday?
I want Bronco Nation to be there early, stay all 4 quarters, 60 minutes, overtime if it comes to it, and from the 25-second play counter when UNLV has the ball, everybody be loud, bring that blue chaos the entire game. And I think if Bronco Nation can do that, we can really play a factor in the game. And I agree with Mike. I think this is going to really prove where both teams are at in the conference for sure, and where they're at overall. And so, Bronco Nation, you have a factor in this, and let's show up and bring that championship caliber fandom. Because we're going to need it. This is a good team. They're 6-0 for a reason. 2-0 in conference. Winning's hard to do, and you can't overlook the Rebels. They're 6-0. They're undefeated, and so we got to defend the blue.
Yep.
I think that's kind of been their mantra when Mullen's been asked that question. Like when he was asked if they deserve to be ranked, he's like, well, we're 6-0. We're one of 11 teams that's left. No matter how you look at it on paper, it's hard to do. So it's going to be, like you said, it's very interesting to see where they end up, what actually happens, where this goes, and honestly, how well both teams play. I think, it's going to be a battle one way or the other. It could be, the score that you mentioned, 45-27 type game, and it's 28-21 and Boise pulls away late. It's where the score is a lot different than what the game actually looks like. So it's going to be very interesting from that perspective as well to see how this actually plays out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me again.
I got one more question for you. Is Indiana for real this year?
I think so. He's a hell of a coach. And did you see his contract he got?
I did not.
So he's not going to Penn State. He got a 8-year, $93 million extension.
I want to go to Penn State.
and he got his contract. If they fire him without cause, they have to pay him the full $93 million.
Wow.
He got a fully guaranteed contract.
Wow.
So he set himself up. I mean, he's 64. He set himself up for obviously his grandkids and grandkids, but it's going to be very interesting where they go.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike, from the Scarlet Standard. Thank you for coming on tonight. We look forward to the game Saturday. If you feel the need and want to join us for the post-game show, you're more than welcome to do that. We'll be in touch with you after the show tonight. If you want to hang around backstage, you can. If you say goodbye here, then that's fine too. But we'll see you around.
Yeah, I'll definitely hop on with you guys post game for sure.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again, Mike.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Bronco Nation Live is brought to you by Blue Elevation and the Serving Bronco Nation directory. Hey Bronco Nation, if you're looking for more followers, clients, or customers, check out ServingBroncoNation.com and get your business added to the directory. When you purchase a tax-deductible plan, you are investing in Boise State and getting access to millions of views throughout the year on the directory and the Bronco Nation network.
All
Nice
right,
guy.
welcome back, Bronco Nation. Yep, pretty good guy.
I like it whenever we get to have that back and forth, and makes it fun.
Yeah,
So-
I like the different perspective.
Yeah. So we have some cheering to do this week if we're going to have any chance at making it into the Actually, you know what? You want to go Broncos in the NFL?
Yeah, but before I do that, I got a breaking update. The women's soccer team just finished. They won San Diego State 2-1. 2 goals by Jill Anderson. So the Broncos are now 7-3-6 overall, 5-0-2 in conference, and in sole position of first place in the conference.
Nice.
But yeah, let's hit the NFL.
All right. We'll start with the no stat people. Where'd you go? There we go. Let's get this guy. There. Dang it. There we go. Sorry, I looked right into my light, and now my eyes are all bubbly. So we got a few coaches in the NFL. Obviously, Kellen Moore, head coach of the Saints. Some of you may not know it, but Darian Thompson is coaching for the Dallas Cowboys. He's the assistant linebackers coach, as well as the quality control coach. And then Gerald Alexander over with the Steelers is the defensive backs coach. It'd be really nice if we could pull him over and give our defensive backs a little nudging. On to the players. Ezra Cleveland plays for the Jaguars as a starter. And then, of course, Scott Matlock, the utility player for Coach Harbaugh and the Chargers. Not much to talk about for stats for him other than 1 reception for 1 yard. And then you have wide receiver Cedric Wilson Jr. He just got picked up from the Saints practice squad last week after Reek's knee injury that he found so hilarious. You remember seeing those photos? Just smiling away. Like he knew he was getting the bag and didn't have to be hit anymore.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle John Ojukwu. I never could say his name. He plays for the Titans. He's a second stringer for the Titans. And then John Bates, second string tight end for the Commanders. He's got 1 reception and 9 yards on the year. J.L. Skinner plays for the Broncos. He's a third string safety. He's got 3 tackles, 1 solo, and a fumble recovery for the Broncos. And then Alexander Madison, unfortunately, is on the IR for the Dolphins with a season-ending neck surgery. And then Avery Williams still hanging around in the NFL. He's helping the Jets prepare on their practice squad. So, any names pop out there, Nick? Anything you want to comment on?
I almost think that it was a blessing. I mean, a blessing for Alexander Madison because the Miami Dolphins are a mess.
Yeah, maybe he comes back from that and gets traded away and has a line that can block for him.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see Avery get on the Jets. It shouldn't be a big deal for him to get up there. I mean, the Jets are a mess too.
Yeah. Next in line, we got Jeremy McNichols. He's currently playing for the Commanders. He's got 13 carries, 117 yards, and a touchdown. Averages 9 yards per carry, aided by that long 60-yarder against Ashton Genty's Raiders. That was fun to watch the two backs go back to back in that game. He's also got 5 receptions on 8 targets for 42 yards and 9 total first downs for the Commanders. Not bad for a backup back to have those kind of numbers.
Yeah, he's quietly putting together a nice veteran career. You know, once they get to year 10, they get a good retirement. So I'm happy for him. I'd like to see him just get a nice shot because we know what he can do. We've seen him on the blue, and he just needs that up.
Yep. Keeping him back in the running back stables, we've got George Halani, 10 carries, 27 yards, long of 8. He's unfortunately fumbled once. He's got 2 receptions for 15 yards, 3 total first downs. He's primarily used on kickoff. He's got 11 kick returns, 270 yards, and a long of 33. It's good to see George getting up there and getting some play time and putting in work at the next level.
Yeah, and he does have that that touchdown because he was football smart. Saw the ball touch and go into the end zone. He knew it was live, and he went and he dove on it. And but I will say that if he does get an opportunity at RB1 someday, I have no doubt he's going to dominate. He's a special kind of player. He just needs that up.
Yep. Switching lanes a little bit. Maybe. There we go. Khalil Shakir, wide receiver. Probably one of the go-tos for Allen and company over there. 25 receptions on 34 targets. Pretty sure-handed. 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 10.7 yards per catch with a long of 43, 12 first downs. He's made himself a nice little home over there in Buffalo, and really probably one of the most successful receivers that Boise State has put in the NFL.
Yeah, and he's got that second contract. If he continues on the path that he's doing and is that stable, dependable wideout, he'll get a nice contract extension. And that's really what's going to change. I mean, the second contract changes the life, but if he gets an extension, then he's set up his family for multiple generations.
Yeah. Moving on to defense, you have Tank. I really hated seeing him leave Dallas, but knowing Jerry Jones, I knew it was coming. He doesn't know how to keep good talent in Dallas. Got rid of Tank and Micah Parsons, and now they're a defensive end away from being a good team. So Tank's got 17 tackles, 7 of which are solo, 2 sacks, 3.5 stuffs for 10 stuff yards. So he's really carving himself out a little home back up there in Seattle with Halani. The Broncos meeting each other again. It's nice to see him. He did have a little injury that he is back from. It wasn't clear if he was going to be able to play last week, but he did end up getting to go.
Yeah, it's nice to see him, still putting up some numbers. He's got 2 sacks, I believe. And yeah, I think Seattle's is a nice landing spot for him. He's a first ballot future Hall of Famer for sure. So yeah, that's going to be a nice place for him to retire, hopefully.
Yep.
In a few years.
There's one other guy that I can't think of it. Who am I missing? Oh yeah, this guy. 105 carries, fourth most in the NFL, 424 yards, ninth most in the NFL, 3 touchdowns, averaging 4 yards a carry. But given the fact that the line that he has is Collender would stop water better, 4 yards is pretty good. He's only lost 1 fumble this year. He had a long of 64 that raced down for a touchdown. He's also got 14 receptions, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and a total of 24 first downs against NFL defenses. Not bad for a rookie career. For a rookie season, I should say.
Yep, and it looks like he's on track. If he continues to produce, on track to have a shot at that Rookie of the Year award.
Yep, and I don't know. They're counting snaps again as stats over in Jacksonville, so he may leave it to Travis Hunter again.
Wouldn't that be a bitch?
Yeah. So should we move on to a cheer guide, huh?
Let's go.
It's been 17,877 days, and by game day, it's going to be 17,879 days since UNLV beat Boise State. They've never beat them on the blue. The last time they won was in 1976, 17,877 days ago, and it was a 5-point win. Boise State's lost to UNLV only 3 times this in their history, and by a combined 12 points. So UNLV wins have been close games, which is something that Mike was talking about whenever we had him on for Football and Chill, that if UNLV is going to win, it's going to be a close game. He had them winning 38-35. So kind of interesting to see the UNLV perspective going against UNLV. But hey, it is what it is. Obviously, for Boise State, we want Boise State to win, and we want UNLV's only 2 losses to beat a Boise State tomorrow, Saturday, and the Mountain West Conference Championship. Other Mountain West action that we want Boise State to, or want teams to win to help Boise State, and these are strictly to give Boise State just that chance to be in CFP talks should the AAC start falling apart and eating itself. You got San Jose State and Utah State play Friday night on CBS Sportsnet at 8 o'clock Central Time. All these times are going to be Central because I'm in Central and that's what I have. So do the math. Take an hour off if you're in Mountain Time. Take 2 hours off if you're Pacific. Add an hour if you're Eastern. Utah State, we want to win. They're currently a 4.5-point favorite with a 61.5 over and under. Air Force hosts Wyoming. Wyoming's 3-3. Air Force is 1-5. Air Force is a lot better than their record suggests they are. Sarka is really finding his legs and his arm. If Air Force had an ounce of a defense, they would be in Mountain West Conference Championship talks this year. Unfortunately, they don't have a defense, but we still need them to beat Wyoming. Then moving on to, and that's Saturday at 2:30 on CBS Sportsnet. Also Saturday at 6 o'clock, they're probably on the Mountain West Network. You have Hawaii at Colorado State. Hawaii's 5-2. Colorado State's 2-4. We want Colorado State to win that one. They're a 2.5-point favorite. Oh, I forgot to tell you too. Air Force is a 3.5-point favorite on Wyoming right now. Colorado State's a 2.5-point favorite on Hawaii, and we need them to go ahead and replicate their success they had against Fresno State and give Hawaii that third loss that they so desperately need to help Boise State's strength of schedule. Then Friday night at 8:45 on Fox Sports 1, New Mexico playing Nevada. Nevada's 1-5. New Mexico's 3-3. Boise State fans want New Mexico to win. They're currently a 12.5-point favorite. So it's highly likely that they'll win. Of course, Fresno was a favorite last week and they lost to Colorado State, so nothing's a given. Outside of Boise State and UNLV, Nick, what game interests you the most in the Mountain West slate?
I'm going to be keeping an eye on San Diego State and Fresno State because I think we've talked about this. We want the top tier to keep winning, except for when they play Boise State.
And they're both on a bye this week, both San Diego State.
So probably, I don't know. I'm curious. I kind of like Air Force. I've grown to like them. I think that they should have a better record than they do. So I'll probably keep an eye on them.
Yeah. Over in the Sun Belt, we have App State playing Coastal Carolina. Coastal's 3-3. App State's 4-2. It is in Boone, North Carolina. App State's a 10.5-point favorite, which is good. We need them to win, keep winning, and not put up another loss. A conference championship for them would be really great. Whether or not they can get there, I don't know. Maybe we'll have the Sunbelt Syndicate on one of these shows later down the road and see what the state of the Sunbelt is. But App State winning would be great for Boise State. They play 2:30 on ESPN Plus. So if you got Hulu, you can watch that one, or the ESPN app and all their newfound glory. Old Dominion 4-2 versus James Madison 5-1. Since Old Dominion took the loss last week, them beating James Madison is a good thing for Boise State because James Madison has a potential to creep in and cause some havoc. And just for future Pac-12 member, Texas State 3-3 at Marshall 3-3. That game's at 2:30 on ESPN Plus as well. Now over to the American. It's a conference that we need to have that Big 12 mentality and just start eating on itself, that Mexican standoff.
Yep.
You have Army plays Tulane. The Army's 3-3. Tulane's 5-1. They're playing in Tulane. Tulane's a 9.5-point favorite. We want Army to win that one. That one's at 11 o'clock on Saturday on ESPNU. UTSA is 3-3. They play North Texas 5-1 in Denton. And UTSA is a 3.5-point dog right now. So North Texas is favored by 3.5. We want UTSA to win that one so that North Texas gets themselves a couple losses, but still somehow finds their way into the AAC Conference Championship game and wins.
Yep.
UAB plays number 22 Memphis. Memphis is 6-0. They're going to UAB, who's 2-4. If they could pull off the miracle upset, that would be great. If they could do it in blowout fashion to where Memphis drops a lot, that would be even better. But I'm not holding my breath for that one. But we should still root for UAB. That one's at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. The UTSA North Texas game is on ESPN Plus as well. And then Florida Atlantic at number 19 South Florida. FAU's 3-3. South Florida's 5-1. Their only loss coming to Miami. That game's at 6:30 on ESPNU. Florida Atlantic might have a chance here. Very slim, but they're not horrible this year. Years past, I would have written them off completely. They might hang around for a quarter or two. Is there any game that sticks out to you in the American, Nick?
Yeah, I'm rooting for that chaos, and I think I like how you're sounding about UTSA knocking off North Texas, but then later on down the road, North Texas taking on Memphis or USF and winning that championship. I think you're right, and that's the key to outside of Boise State just continuing to run the table, the key to the best chance that we'll have to squeak into the CFP.
Yep. Outside of UNLV, the Boise State game of the week, the game fans should most watch is number 20 USC 5-1 at number 13 Notre Dame 4-2. 6:30 p.m. on NBC. We definitely want Notre Dame to win that one, and we want them to blow them out, and preferably win by more than 21 points, so we look better. Notre Dame's currently a 9.5-point favorite. The USC's traveling to South Bend, and it has all the earmarks of being a good game. My Sam Talk Sports game of the week is going to be number 5 Ole Miss 6-0 at number 9 Georgia 5-1. A lot of people are saying Ole Miss shouldn't be ranked as high as what they are. This is their chance to prove that they belong in the top 5. That game's at 2:30 on ABC. And I'm being attacked by moths. It must be time to wrap this up. Other notable games, number 10 LSU at number 17 Vandy. Georgia's 7.5-point favorite, by the way. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Oh, that game's on. No, it's not. It's Saturday morning. There it is. 11 o'clock Saturday morning on ABC. Number 10 LSU's 5-1. Number 17 Vanderbilt's also 5-1. Their only loss to Alabama. Vanderbilt is a 2.5-point favorite, surprisingly. So that'll be a fun morning game to watch while you're waiting for Boise State to start. And then number 11 Tennessee taking on number 6 Alabama. Both schools are also 5-1, and that game is on ABC at 6:30 p.m. Alabama's an 8.5-point favorite. A lot of people in Tennessee say Alabama shouldn't be ranked that high. A lot of people in Alabama say Tennessee shouldn't be in the top 25. So we'll see who's right. And then the Holy War happens this week as well. Number 23 Utah 5-1 at number 15 BYU 6-0. That game's at 7 o'clock on Fox. So there's a lot of good football to be played this week. Quite a few top 25 matchups that are sure to give you some kind of enjoyment. Utah is a 3.5-point favorite to BYU, so that's good news for all us BYU haters.
I'm looking forward to the Notre Dame USC game.
Yeah,
I've always liked to watch those games when they're in South Bend.
Yep, and just to hold on, my screen's jumping around. There we go. So we got a lot more in action. I'm just going to run through our upcoming events for Bronco Sports real quick. We've got the men are at the ITA Mountain Region Championships in Las Vegas. Men's tennis they actually start yesterday. Yep, they started yesterday, and they play through the 20th over in Vegas. So if you're in the Las Vegas area and want to watch some tennis, the men are out there doing their thing. The soccer played tonight, and they won, correct, Nick?
Yep, 2-1 over San Diego State.
There you go. The volleyball, they won over San Jose State too as well, right?
Correct. 3 matches to 2.
Nice. Tomorrow we have cross country at the Princeton Fall Classic in Princeton, New Jersey. Also tomorrow we have men's basketball versus Idaho at the ICA in downtown Boise. That starts at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. On Saturday, obviously, we have football versus UNLV at 1:30 Mountain Time. And then also on Saturday, cross country at the George Oha Invitational in Independence, Oregon. Softball is at Eastern Oregon at 11 o'clock Mountain. where they play Eastern Oregon at 11 o'clock Mountain, and then they play Oregon at 12:30 Mountain Time. Both games are in Eugene. On also tomorrow night or Saturday night, volleyball at home versus Utah State. So that one's going to be a good one. On the 19th, softball's at Portland State in Hillsboro, Oregon. Soccer is at New Mexico at 12 Mountain, and then golf, the 20th through the 22nd is in Hawaii. Women's golf is in Hawaii Women's golf is in Hawaii the 20th through the 22nd. Men's tennis is in Norman, Oklahoma for the 25K ITF Pro event. And that's they pretty much leave the Las Vegas and get into Oklahoma pretty much the same day. The Las Vegas matches end on 10:20, and the Oklahoma matches start on 10:20. So that's the 20th through the 24th. Men's tennis will be in Norman, Oklahoma. Men's tennis is in Oklahoma the 20th through the 26th. Esports the 20th through the 24th. They play Kansas and Nevada. If you're not familiar with the esports, they use their computers and controllers and they do things. And apparently that's a sport now. And we cover all of Bronco sports. And so that's what you get. So they play Kansas and Nevada this week. They're actually not doing too bad. They've had some success this year. And then golf, Ben's Golf on the 26th. They are in Maui, Hawaii, at that name that I'm not going to try to pronounce again, Classic. And then on Halloween, women's tennis is at the Torero Tennis Classic in San Diego, California. So that's your upcoming events. And there's a lot of sports. You don't realize how many sports a college has until you until you have to cover them all. And that's not even counting the club sports. I'll have a ticker for those for next week for the club sports, since we're trying to get more awareness for club sports for that. So, Nick, overall show thoughts, final thoughts. What's your final take from today?
I just I like having a different perspective. I'm very grateful for Mike Cooper from the Scarlet Standard for jumping on with the return of our football and chill segment. Thought he was very knowledgeable about his team, which I get a lot out of that. I know a heck of a lot about the Broncos, and I try to learn a lot about these other teams, but I glean a lot of information from these other people who have a lot more experience with their home team. So really appreciate him. I do want to let Bronco Nation know, if you're still watching this or you're watching the replay and it's before 7:30 on Friday morning, I do join the Kevin Miller talk show locally in Boise at 7:30. That's my spot. So tune into the show. You can find it on 580 AM or 107.5 FM. Or if you're not around Boise, download the KIDO 580 app. I think there's another one that's KIDO 107.5 FM app. But just do a search for KIDO in your Apple or Google Play Store and pick that up and log in around 7:30 every Friday. And I chalk it up with Kevin about the Boise State Broncos.
There you go. I tried to get it on before.
Yeah.
I had to delete some stuff.
Yeah. So I'm very, very appreciative to Kevin Miller and KIDO for giving me that real estate on Friday morning. I've been doing it all season long, and I'd love to have the relationship with them to continue to do it all year round. So join me tomorrow, 7:30 Mountain Time, on the Kevin Miller Talk Show.
That tomorrow or Monday?
Tomorrow is Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Yep.
For some reason,
Right.
I thought your show was on Monday and you even
Nope.
just said it.
It's every Friday. It's every Friday, even when I was on the road trip to Notre Dame, I stopped off. I think it was in Davenport, Iowa, and I jumped on the show and.
For whatever reason, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, Monday was in my head. I hate Mondays. That's probably why. It'd be my Monday bright spot.
Yeah. No. Fridays are for happiness, and that's why I talk about the Broncos on the Friday mornings with him.
Oh,
but
maybe you can work into a Monday post game as well, so you can bring some happiness to Mondays.
Yeah, but like you said, Mondays aren't the greatest. I do love Mondays, but I'd rather do it on Fridays. So that works for me.
Yep. All right. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. It was a great show. I loved having Mike Cooper on. I really liked the football and chill segment. I really hope we can continue to add more people, and next year probably get more of the people that we couldn't get this year. They'll say, "Oh, hey, this is actually something that people watch." So the more notoriety we get, the better it's going to be, and I'm looking forward to it. We are just Nick and myself doing the show. We do all the graphics, we do all the tickers, we do all the production, we flip through all the screens. That's why you may see a glitch here and there. That's just because we're trying to talk and make it look good at the same time. So it's fun. We love doing it. We love bringing you all the information that we can. We like covering all of Bronco Nation sports as much as we can, not just the scholarship sports, but the club sports as well, and not just the main sports like your football and soccer and volleyball and basketball. Those are the top 4 sports for Boise State. We want to cover it all. We want to give you everything that you can. So if there's a sport that maybe we're not touching on that you would rather, or not spending enough time on, that you would want us to spend more time on, shoot us a message. Let us know. We'll dive into it and become more knowledgeable on it and give you the content that you want. We're here. We're built by Boise State fans for Boise State fans. And that's what we're here for. Everything's, say it, Nick, how much does it all cost?
It's all free. If you're a Boise State fan, you're a VIP in our book, man.
Yep. What's the message boards looking like, Nick?
Oh, we're continuing to grow on our website, on the message boards. We are around 6,000 members in less than a month and a half, I believe. So that's just still picking up. And again, it's all free, and that's why people are just pouring in like a sieve. And you get in there and you have the freedom. You can make your own topic, your own post. It's great fun. That's where you're going to find updates about the Broncos in the NFL. A lot of people are going in there. Would love to have a dialogue in there, some smack talk between people who between your favorite teams, stuff like that. So everything's going great. Continue to support Bronco Nation updates and Blue Elevation. Go to the websites. Follow all the platforms. Give if you can to blueelevation.org. If you're a company, let us advertise for you. We hit 2.2 million viewers every month, continuously, and that's even during the off season. So align with us. Let us advertise for you, and guess what? That money goes to Boise State. We revenue share with the university. So it's a win-win. You support Boise State, and then Bronco Nation supports you. Yep.
Good times. Nick, what do you got working up on there, on your, what is it, a blog page or article page? What do you call them? The blueprint. There you go. What do you got working up on the blueprint?
Blueprint, we're always looking for people who like to write, who like to create content. If you're, a lot like Sam and I, creative, like to express through articles, I'm new to doing this. I love it. I've been writing articles about all the games, about standards with Boise State and stuff. If you like to do that, reach out to me and we'll get with the right person, we'll get you your own page on there. And again, and that's just to bless Bronco Nation, with more coverage and more angles on Bronco sports. So if you're creative, if you're a content creator and you're a freelancer and you want to get your feet under you, contact us. We'll give you a shot. Get on there and you can start creating content for Bronco Nation updates.
Yep, and we'll share it into the group, the 30,000 member group. So you have potential to get noticed by 30,000 people.
Yep.
So, well,
yep.
I've got if you guys want to go check out, we made mention of it earlier during the football and chill segment. If you want to check out how I'd fix the college football as a whole with the NIL, the portal, and conference realignment, www.bronconationupdates.com/STS for Sam Talk Sports. There's 3 articles up there right now outlining all that, and I'm working on a 4th article now. Who's the next Power 5 conference? We'll see what we can information we can give you off of that. We will let you know whenever that one's live as well.
Yep, and also look forward to in a week or so my preview on men's basketball, women's basketball, and the winter sports that are coming. Working on a piece for gymnastics with the future Hall of Famer in gymnastics. I'm not going to give that up, so I'm just going to tease that. And my last plea for you, Bronco Nation, is go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe for free. It's never going to cost you anything. Just sub. And then, because that's going to help us become monetized so that we can rev share with the university that way. Our whole goal is to monetize and revenue share with Boise State University and build all these programs up to a national powerhouse, because we're going to need to do that for the Power 5 whenever we get there.
Yep. And we made mention too, it may not be a Power 5 football conference, but it has potential to be one of the best basketball conferences in the nation. So you hear us say Power 5, it may not be, you can't have a Power 5 conference with the likes of Texas State, who can't even win in the little conferences. But we're definitely going to be a powerhouse in basketball, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we want to dominate whatever conference we're in. So, and that takes a team, that takes donations, that takes views, people supporting our channel so that we can monetize and share that with the university. We are doing something that's revolutionary here at Bronco Nation Updates. And again, if you're a Boise State fan, you're a VIP to us. And together as a one happy family, Bronco Nation faithful, we can do this. We can help the university in ways that people couldn't even imagine. So it takes a team. We can do this. Everything and anything and everything counts. So yeah, if you feel led to give. If you feel led to view, please share, please like. Again, totally free. The content's free, always free. And you're a VIP if you're a Bronco fan. You're a VIP to us. So for those who are going to the game, please stay for the whole game. Be loud from the 25-second play clock when UNLV has it. Just continue to make as much noise as you can. We can make a difference as the 12th man. We've done it before. We're going to do it on Saturday. So wear your black, have fun, and let's get another win.
Yes. Let's get that. Let's break that false start counter.
Yep. And thank you guys for watching again. Again, if you're watching the replay, please share this, comment, give us your predictions. But until next time, Sam?
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Oh. Was that not that?
Yep. Go Broncos. Until next time.
Hi, I'm Ron Dorn. I'm president of Blue Elevation. A lot of you have probably heard of it and other sites like Bronco Nation Updates, and I just want to talk a little bit about Boise State football and what we're trying to do to help move the team forward. It's a lot of fun to work with them, but as you know, with the upheaval in college football and the NIL money, we're always needing more, and we're trying to do that by giving more news to you than you can get in other sources, and events that you might be able to attend. And we would just love to see your support, additional support for Boise State, so we can take this to the next level, especially moving into the Pac-12. I see such a bright future for us by doing this. For those of you that are as old as I am, you remember when we had wooden bleachers and we did rodeos in the stadium, and we had good coaches and we were doing the best we can with what we had. These coaches need that continuated support to make it happen for us. You can see what we've done with what little we've had, but we really need the help, and we just need the commitment, and we need you to get involved with us to push the Boise State program forward. Again, especially going to the Pac-12, and especially the futures out there, and what the basketball team is doing, the women's softball team is doing, and some other sports that I follow. We just want to keep you involved and focused and helping us out any way that you can do that to support our university.